The money that suckers while our community still poor. Withdrew the troops but started another war. Colonizing, terrorizing, creating the oil crisis so they can make a killing on food and gas prices. Prisons is filling, they trying to lock up the future. Militarized borders and control of computers. Wanting stupid bumping music that ain't healthy for the shortest. Privatizing schools and policemen in the hallways can't be dormant. I'm awoke and rise up, be ready. Brought the family with us and we hold the machetes.
Riding the fence. Too many people be riding the fence. Yeah, you say you ready for war, but are you convinced? I'm not convinced. If you're a rider, freedom fighter, crowd excited, then let's do it in this criminal system. Put your book down and get shook down like my niggas in prison. Don't be condemning and condoning their actions in one sentence. Make up your mind, choose your side. Is you a patriot or a menace to society? So riot or sit by quietly. But don't pull out your flag and try to say you gon' ride with me. You flip-flopping like hip-hop. I don't get locked in that trick box. Get got like Big and Pop. Shit's got to stop. I am the stop. I am the people, not the big. I repeat after Fred. So please blow my brains out if I ever forget. I'm with the independent thinkers. I'm down with the peace and brown pride and black power make RBG. An OG told me choose battles wisely. In the struggle, don't forget your children and your wife. If you don't see me on the podium preaching it, every day I hope my every action is teaching it. Cause revolution is a process. It's not a speech or a panel. They bite off more than you can handle.
Uprising and the right to unionize. We ain't cross the border, so you better legalize. I'm with La Peña del Bronx. I'm still with Victor Toro, cause gentrification is polluting my borough. So bro never, South Bronx forever. Cause gentrification is polluting my borough. So bro never, South Bronx forever.
Play the simpleton, fools play with wisdom. Who will stand and fight back? Who will play the victim? Trials and tribulations, ancient generations, stolen history and outsourced innovation. Babel Tower fell, tribes are at war. The battle story's not represented in the score. The game's fixed, most of the faces and names switched. Credit stolen on science, religion, language, technology, philosophy, and with strangers. They paid in Haitian for the knowledge of the ancients. Power in words, actions, guns, swords. Aim Panthers brown for things.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Shot heard around the world type shit. Where were you when I texted you then?
Same place I've been sitting this whole time.
In the back?
Yep.
Okay, that was funny then.
Would you mind sharing it out to some folks so Jetty gets here?
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
According to Article 31 of the United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples of 2007, we have the right to maintain, control, protect, and develop our cultural heritage, traditional knowledge, and traditional cultural expression. We want an immediate end to all racist, anti-immigrant, anti-indigenous policies.
Let's go. Yup, I'm an alien from planet Chile, a Bolivarian galaxy that will be the illest. Welcome to my world, the people's universe. Let's have a conversation that'll make the soul search Earth. Mother, it feels good to say things that uplift the hood. For what it's worth, we've been here for a while. Follow the moon, take a walk for a mile in the shoes of the man that picked the fruit. I want access to schools, I don't want to join the troops. You came to my country, you brought the dictator. Gave him money and told him pay me later. So taste the tomato, whatever. The students, the farmers, working together.
Oh, I'm glad you made it, Gen X. Mick. I'm glad you made it out, Mick. As soon as Jetty gets here, I'll be performing what's probably going to be my favorite interview so far. Why can't you come up, Mick?
I'm not a human being, I got feet, so I walk. If I can't eat, I'ma move till I find my piece of the pie. A dignified life. Wife and the kids deserve more than this. She waitress, he grade shift. Money keep on making it, bills keep on taking it. Spaceship ain't awaiting, but somehow I'm still alien.
Not well enough. What's wrong with you? Hey, Peaceful, get up here. Yay, I'm glad you made it. What's wrong with you, Mick? Why are you sick? I'm here to stay. If they ask me for my papers, I'ma laugh and say.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Mother, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. Anything fun lately?
Yeah, I gotta find a place to live in 3 weeks. So this is gonna be fun.
Damn, it's getting rough out here.
Yeah, tell you what. Well, it's okay. Here's the thing. Like the girl that the friend that I live with right now, she is helping me. Like she's basically going to be my baby daddy legally. Because my daughter right now, she her dad's not on the birth certificate, so she's gonna help me out. And being that she's like well off and white, like I feel like my daughter's safe here. Because so you know what I mean. She's building an extra room for her, and she's been friends with the family forever. Like you know what I mean. So I know that she looks out for my daughter, and so at least then I know that she is safe. You know what I'm saying? And so that makes things a lot easier. It makes things a lot easier than trying to find something for her and I.
Hey, I'm glad you have that option, but I'm sorry that this is going
I mean,
on.
yeah, it's rough, but I mean, I'm thankful. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I definitely get it.
I figure you gotta show the gratitude where you find it, so I'm working on that every day now. Is like trying to give a little bit of gratitude, you know what I mean, for where I'm at as opposed to where other people are at, and how you know what I mean, that kind of thing, because it does make it easier to go through the day,
Yeah. Hey, I'm glad you at least have that comfort. You know what I mean?
It's something.
Shit, for real. Oh, real quick, Sludge, my mod stuff isn't working. I tried to go ahead and add somebody up on panel, and I didn't have that option.
The fuck? Okay. Hold on. It's all green on my side.
I assume so, but yeah, the only options I have are modify live status setting and disconnect.
Weird. Oh, probably because it's a scheduled event. Even that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because
back out and come in. Back out and come back in. See if that fixes it.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Oh, I'm excited to interview Jetty. She should be back any minute. Jetty is known as Junk Art Lady here on TikTok, and they are me in a different body. It's pretty fucking crazy. They're the only other person I've ever met that is as motivated and as adamant about homelessness as I am. It's pretty cool. I'm excited. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. If you're new here, welcome to Interviewing Humanity. My guest today is my friend Jetty, otherwise known as Junk Art Lady here on TikTok. And, hey, Michelle, you want to come up and hold a box while I do an interview? You're more than welcome to. But I'm excited. Come on up, Michelle. Hey.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Good. I'm interviewing an important and dear friend of mine today, who is the founder of the Barefoot Defenders in Eugene, Oregon, which are full-blown boots off, gloves off, frontline fucking unit that fights tooth and nail to protect the homeless.
Nice.
It's pretty nice. And they're the only other person I've ever met in my life that is as adamant and motivated and solutions focused as I am, which is really cool. They ran to the store really fast, but they should be back any moment. Go ahead.
I do some grassroots stuff around Philadelphia, where I'm from.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Out in
not,
Philly,
not
huh?
much.
You're not far from me.
Oh, okay.
Like 2 hours or so.
Fantastic.
That's awesome to know. I'm in Baltimore. Well, close to Baltimore.
Okay.
But I found a lot of stuff out here recently, a lot of organizations. Which is really interesting because some of them are, one's a Baltimore Peace Movement, one is from mutual, there's a bunch of mutual aids I just found. Some of them are out of the colleges, actually. And then there's one they have an abolishment movement here, and they're trying to keep the popo out of the Johns Hopkins and different schools. And so there's a lot of stuff now going on over here. It's really cool. And I also contacted the National Panther Party, but they're all the way in Washington, so they're far. But, just about possibly, futuristically branching out, maybe.
Oh, aren't they in Philadelphia?
Are they? I only know the one in Washington.
Oh, okay.
But I know that there's the regular Black Panther Party, but I didn't know the National Panther Party was they're like the White Panther Party, basically. And which I would love to do, because I would love to be, I want to be famous side by side with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is everybody, anybody that needs it,
Yeah.
Just need to show up for it, because it's the best I can do,
Looks like Ghost is having a hard time connecting. Okay, good. Looks
Yeah,
like Ghost is having a hard time connecting.
Oh. Uh-oh. It blows me away how popular Rage was in my generation, and how much of my generation didn't listen to them.
Yeah, they missed the fucking memo.
Yeah, they really did. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
It's funny because back in the day of real punk rock, you couldn't understand half the crap they were saying, but yet everybody knew what the message was,
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, Mick can't come up today because they're not quite feeling right, but I appreciate you being here either way, hon.
Hope you feel better.
She should be back any minute. They just ran down to the little gas station down here. So, Michelle, what do you do out in Philly?
I am medically retired.
Okay. And what kind of outreach do you do?
I used to be an insurance agent, but I just do grassroots stuff. I know a few locals who go out and feed the homeless. They mostly go out in Kensington. I don't know if you ever heard of Kensington, Philadelphia, but it's a drug
I have.
hub. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We go there and we take blankets, toiletries, and food, snacks, sandwiches. The problem is anybody who does outreach gets chased away anymore. So, yeah. Like, all you're doing is handing out oodles of noodles, and it's, it's a crime.
Hey, Psycho, how you doing?
Doing good, man. How you guys doing? You driving or what?
No. I'm about to be interviewing a good friend and fellow activist whose name is Jetty. They go by a junk art lady here on TikTok.
Cool. Ooh, I follow them.
Oh, good. You should. They're amazing. Wait, you follow junk art lady, Nigel?
Yeah. It popped up on my FYP, and I was like, all right, yeah. Here
Fantastic.
for it.
Sweet. Well, I'm glad to have you on. She just pulled back up, so give me just a minute. I'm going to put myself on mute while we get ready. Y'all go ahead and just discuss life.
I don't know. I guess, can I introduce myself, or is that okay?
Please do.
So, I am 36 years old. I now live in Michigan. I am from a really rural conservative part of Georgia. I identify as non-binary, and I have a husband.
Hey, Nibbling.
Well,
Oh,
is
hey, thank you.
It's very nice to meet you.
You as well. And if I can say, I am scared right now for a number of things in my life. My last name and my husband's last name happen to be Hispanic, and he was born in Chile. He's adopted into the U.S.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, so I'm worried.
Yeah.
Especially with due process kind of being disbanded.
Yeah, null and void.
Yeah.
completely optional.
Well,
if you will.
after the interview, I'll be having a conversational discussion about how can I put this without getting feds down my neck? Solutions-based activism.
I'm right there with you. So I can tell you too, my family, my mother-in-law, the adoptive mother of my Chilean husband, she started Capital Services Inc. here in Michigan. So she has always been for the unions, for the people. We are actually close friends with Governor Whitmer.
Close friends with the governor. Nice.
Yeah. I'm having dinner with Governor Whitmer on May 6th.
Well, be careful. I never trust a politician.
Facts.
I know, but I think she's one of the good ones. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, just be careful.
I'm going to find out.
Because, we are on that deportation list too, right?
Yeah, my last name is Rojo. Like, I'm on the list.
Yeah, I'm autistic and non-binary. I'm on that list.
Yeah, just remember that it's literally a quote that homegrowns are next.
Yeah, I'm every.
Yep.
Yep, exactly.
Homegrow's already happening, and that's the thing that's scary.
Yep.
And that's the thing; it doesn't even matter anymore. Like whether you have a mental, like the only thing you can't get in trouble for is being white.
Right, and I am
laugh
Well,
about
unless
it.
you have one of the other factors.
No, but that's
with
what I'm
being
saying
white,
is
yeah.
it doesn't even matter if you are white. Is what I'm saying, because if you have one of the other factors, which I have all of them, but being white, you know what I'm saying. Like, it's not funny. It's just sometimes you gotta laugh at stuff.
and I'm mostly white. I present as white for most of the year. I am like, I've done my 23andMe, which I know takes a lot of privilege, by the way. So I know that's a lot of privilege to even be able to do that. I'm 15% Arabic. My mom had quite a lot of Arabic ancestry, and I present most of the time as a white person. Sometimes of the year, yeah, I look a little bit darker than the average white person, but I don't present as a person of melanin, a person of color. I do present as pretty gay.
Same though.
I mean, I think that's pretty much a group effort at this point.
Well, my septum is not doing me any favors.
My daughter is half black, and she also has a third of indigenous American in her. So, and that's another reason why I figure, because I'm poor and I have a lot of disability, like mental issues and stuff like that. It's probably better for her to stay with my friend. Like, we're doing it legally because I feel like she'll be safer in this world. Because it really scares me. Like, I just need to do what's best for her, and like, it's scary.
Yeah, and there's a reason I chose to live in Lansing. And like you said, one of the other commenters, don't trust a politician, but our governor has a non-binary lesbian daughter and stands by them.
Oh, nice.
And
that is
helpful. I feel like also we're very near to the border of Canada. And yeah, I have contingency plans in place.
Real quick, hey Moon.
Hello.
Unfortunately, unless I found a back gate, I wouldn't be able to afford to get in. So
I have student loan debt of like $3,000. So like,
nice.
I'd have to resolve that before I could go across the border, but I would make sure my husband was safe at the very least.
Yeah, see, that's where I'm at too. I'm like, it's all about safety right now.
Hey Gen X, how are you doing?
But I don't think it's too late, by the way, to change and make sure this country goes back to what it should be.
Real quick, Nigel, if you don't mind dropping F1 when you're talking about hot button stuff, it just helps out with the ALG stuff.
Oh yeah, I can do that. I'm sorry.
No, you're all good. I was just letting you know. Thank you.
That's just for educational purposes. We love the TikTok shop.
TikTok shop.
Make that disclaimer right away. This is all for educational purposes.
Hypothetical educational purposes.
Facts.
Oh no, we should be educated on certain subjects. In that particular subject, it's very educational.
Hey Moon, welcome in, man. I'm having an interview today with Junk Art Lady, or Jetty, here on TikTok. And she's the only person I've met really ever that's as adamant and as motivated and as solutions based as I am, which is amazing. So buckle in, because we're going to be having a good interview. They're grabbing a couple microphones right now to make this easier, and we'll be getting started in just a second.
You're going to ace it, by the way, I think.
Well, thank you very much. I try to make sure everything goes smoothly most of the time. ADD is a thing, though.
Well, you already know my stance. That's all I have to say. Leave it right there. I'm very much told that I am radical about anti-fashionist or whatever, how the heck you say it.
Fascist, yeah.
Yeah, I'm anti-fashionist, like very anti-fashionist.
Well, they've been taking over the Western world. I mean, from Putin to Italy to even the papacy. It's scary. It's far right people. I mean, King Charles is far right.
Nigel and Moon, if you guys don't mind dropping some F1s, please.
Oh, F1, yeah, absolutely, yeah. But yeah, it's a scary time to be in the world. I mean, it's kind of that Chinese curse, right, of living in interesting times.
Well, in my opinion, this type of stuff has been around since the day before dawn, right? Since there was utopias come into play.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it comes with the mindset of change for caring about anything other than material possessions.
I think the scary thing right now is that a lot of the people at play happen to have a certain class of weapon that's very dangerous.
Well,
and that terrifies me.
Great Britain back in the night.
I think it means it's on.
Had the largest standing
Testing. Can anybody hear me?
Can people hear us?
Okay, cool.
Can you hear both of us?
Yeah.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Did they see us?
Yes, that's a yes.
That's a 10-4.
All right, everybody, if you don't mind muting up real quick, I'm going to get through my opening monologue and we're going to get to this interview. Thank you, Jetty.
Yeah,
I appreciate you letting me give you an interview. Welcome back to Interviewing Humanity, everybody. As always, I'm Sludge Knuckle, and joining me today is a very special guest, Jetty, or at Junk Art Lady here on TikTok. Here on Interviewing Humanity, you know what we deal with. It's where the streets speak and we listen. Today's episode is a firestorm of grit, guts, and grassroots resistance. I'm sitting down with my ride or die comrade, a dear friend, and a fellow soldier in the mud, Jetty Eddy, founder of the Barefoot Defenders here in Eugene. This isn't just some feel-good mutual aid crew. The Barefoot Defenders are a full-blown, boots off, gloves off, frontline unit fighting tooth and nail to protect the houseless and impoverished from the violent indifference of local government. I genuinely feel lucky to catch Jetty during this rare and much-needed period of self-care, a breath she's earned 1,000 times over. We're talking direct action, civil disobedience, radical compassion, and the kind of raw defiance that makes bureaucrats nervous. Jetty's been out there, barefoot in the mud, holding line after line, getting arrested, screamed at, and still coming back stronger every single time. This one's personal. This one's truth. This one's for every person who's ever been discarded by the system and defended by someone who refused to look away. So, let's get into it. Jetty.
Oh, that kind of made me emotional.
What made you say enough and start this movement?
Well, I mean, I've always had a thing. This sounds weird. I've always had a thing for the hobos, for the in-house, people surviving outside. Ever since I was a little kid, my mom would always tell me, like, these are a test. They're guardian angels in disguise. And my dad, who was a police officer, would always, like, tell me how those people were drug addicts and they just were lazy bums and that we didn't need to help them. And I was all about resisting anything that my dad put into the world. So I suppose there was, like, it was already there, but it was definitely fed by, like, a big fuck you, Officer Pat McKenna. But then I guess in 2017, my sister, my friend, and I came to Eugene, Oregon. I've been coming here for a while, for like, I don't know, 15 years now, and I loved this place, and so I'd come every year. And one year, we were trying to move here, and this guy would only rent a place to us if we were physically here in Eugene. So my sister, her friend, and I hopped in the car in the middle of winter, went over the pass, made it here to get this place, and the guy was like, sorry, I'm actually not going to rent it to you. I don't feel good about it when we have so many unhoused people, blah, blah, blah. So we went out anyway, and we fucking partied, and we went to this stupid bar. And before we went into the bar, there was like a group of unhoused folks sitting in this little cove outlet of a business, and I stopped and I gave them a cigarette and I gave them a joint. And then we went into this bar, which totally sucked, and they were assholes. And so I was like, I'm gonna go hang out with those homeless people because I just gave them my last joint. I'm gonna see if they'll smoke it with me. And so I went back and I hung out. I spent the whole fucking night with them, and I learned their stories. And you know, there was this one girl who was 16, and she decided to live on the streets because things at her house were bad and she was being abused. She still went to high school every day. The people out there were like, we make sure she goes, we help her get there, help her with her homework. And I realized like quickly, like these people were not these monsters. They weren't scary. They were good people, bad situations, and they were a community. And so I went back home to Idaho, super inspired, and was like, I want to do outreach and get donations and go out and meet the people on the streets and get to know them and just have human connection with them. And I quickly learned we didn't have that many people that were living on the streets in Idaho. It's cold and nearly impossible to survive outside during the winters. And things went south with the person that I'd started this group with called the Barefoot Defenders. And then they stole all my items that I'd gotten donated, and that was kind of the end of it. Fast forward to 2023. I moved to Eugene, Oregon finally, and I started hanging out with some pretty cool radical anarchists here, and I ended up going to church with one of them at the Mennonite church. They sent me this clip of this pastor, and he was preaching, and I was like, yo, I think your pastor is preaching anarchy. I think I'd be down to go to this church and check it out. And so I did. And that's where I met Steve Kimes, the pastor of the Mennonite church. And one of the things he was asking for was a call to have people freeze water bottles in the summer and take them out to this camp, which was called the Unicorn Camp. And I was living at an occupation at the time. And so I would run home, I'd grab my frozen water bottles because I have 2 freezers. So I volunteered immediately. I was like, yeah, I will do it. I volunteer. And so I would go do that. I would take it out to this camp down the tracks, which when I first started rolling down those tracks, I'm not even gonna lie, dude, I was like, my mind was blown. Like, these people had built structures with roofs and doors and a lot of trash, but I was like so intrigued by their houses and the fact that it was just like down the fucking railroad tracks right here in the middle of the city. Like, who knew that existed there? It was pretty crazy. And they didn't know me, and so I'd get the looks like, who the fuck are you? And I understand those looks so much better now, but at the time I thought it was like, we're gonna fuck you up, bitch. And so I would proceed with caution and be really friendly and bring them the water, and I'd leave immediately. And you know, as months go on, Steve puts this call out and says, like, the cops are going out to Unicorn Camp, and when they get off duty and they're harassing these people, they just ripped Ty and Ivy's door off of their house last night. We need people to do cop watch. So my partner and I had a weekly date night every Thursday, and we just started going out to the tracks at night, and we would do cop watch. And you know, I started bringing my drill out so they could fix their doors. And there was a guy named Green, and Green was teaching me about, like, he'd always have a fire, and it gets really cold here in Oregon at night. And so Green would teach me about, like, how important a fire is out there, and like how one fire could save 10 people. And he taught me about how they got their firewood, and you know, taught me about fire bricks, and taught me how to make a little can stove to keep people warm. And then fast forward to another little bit of time down the way, like 2 months or something, and we get a call that Unicorn Camp is going to be swept, and they needed people to come out. And I showed up, and so did like 15 or something other blocked up folks, and we blocked that shit up, and we didn't stop the sweep, but we did intimidate the police enough that they were like, maybe we should help get these people out of here, like get them some gas, get them battery packs to jump their cars.
Well, maybe we should be decent humans.
Yeah, we talked the company that was the contractors that were sweeping into like being human and having some compassion, and they would like bring McDonald's out and biscuits and gravy, and they were willing to work around the people who were still moving. And we got them like 4 extra days to move, which was, listen, if you're going to displace people, at least give them time to settle their minds and get their shit, give them a minute to breathe. And that is, I suppose if we have to have sweeps, that would be a really ideal situation. And it was really interesting to watch. Still really shitty. Like, it sucks that people have these jobs in order to survive that are going to displace people, and they, So
Okay.
After that, I started going out, and we started organizing these people who just ended up moving down the tracks further, and we were having meetings, and Food Not Bombs was providing like dinner so we could feed their hungry minds and we could teach them their rights, and then we would hang out at the fire with them at night, and it just kind of snowballed from there. And I was like, I'm bringing the Barefoot Defenders back. And then I ended up going and staying out on the tracks, and that's what really fucking like fueled everything. That's when I started becoming, I would say, radicalized in a way.
Yeah. So why barefoot? What's the symbolism there?
Let's see. So back in 2017, when my friend and I were like starting this little outreach thing, we were just like bouncing names off each other. I don't really know. I think it just kind of like came from like that. Just like, honestly, I'm usually about like the graphic design, I'll be honest. And I had a really cute foot that I had drawn up with a friend, and it just stuck.
Okay. Can you paint us a picture of that first day? That first defiance? What did that look like?
Well, I already told you about the unicorn camp sweep, so I'm gonna go to the one that really fueled shit, and that would be the January 10th, 2024. Yeah. We were preparing for a severe ice storm here in the PNW.
I remember.
And I went out to go make sure that the camp that I went to had what they needed to survive and knew that what was coming. And I found my friend who is 73 at the time, and she was laying under 2 tarps, and there was piles of water on her. And I went over to her and I was like, girl, you got to get out of there. And when she popped up under the tarps, her lips were blue, and she said, and I immediately grabbed my hat off my head, and I shoved it onto her head and started ripping my gloves off. And she looked at me and she goes, how did you know I was cold, Jetty? And I was like, because it's fucking cold out here, bro. Like, hello. So I went home and I got all of my personal camping gear, and I went back and I spent hours, tearing down her broken tent and all of her shit, and putting up new tarps and building her a new tent and making sure she had clean, warm blankets. And we got her a heat buddy, which she wouldn't use because her cats would get too close to it and burn their fur. So she just would cuddle her cats through this ice storm. And so the next day I went there, and I went to go check on her, make sure everybody was good. And Eugene Police Department and Railroad Police showed up, and they ticketed us. And I was like, hey, I'm here getting garbage and bringing people propane and blankets. Why in the fuck am I getting ticketed? I'm an outreach worker. And they thought I was homeless and lying to them. And I was like, okay, I'm going to show you motherfuckers what's up. And so I talked 4 people into going to court and fighting this. And I fought for 10.5 months. They ended up dropping all of my charges after giving me, I had a total of 7 charges by the end of that. And I got off with 1 charge which I'm absolutely fine with having, which was disruption of city council meeting. And I was the first person, me and my 2 friends were the first people charged with that in 25 years.
Wow.
And that felt pretty cool.
That's an achievement. That's a hell of an achievement.
Yeah.
So what kind of actions is the group taking to protect houseless folks?
Well, I think, like, for me, it was like I've been homeless for a very small amount of time in Southeast Idaho. So I went camping for a month or 2 in the summer. It was nothing. I was hungry and dirty, and it wasn't that bad. And so I went and stayed on the tracks for 9 days so that I could observe and understand and learn how to be a better advocate. And so that's important, is getting to, like, hear people's stories, hear them out, hear what their needs are, hear what they, what's going on with them, let them have the voice since they're the people living it. And then I just got loud. I always say I'm a megaphone for the people surviving outside. And so I take what they say to me and then I get loud about it in the community. We fight our charges in court. We support people that get charged to go to court. We do weekly outreach and weekly distros to people. We bring them supplies and food. We have multiple people that we've gotten out of the city that live in the forest now, where we also do weekly distro to them. And we just try to advocate for them, get loud and try to educate people. And when people complain about, the biggest complaint is trash. And so it's like just trying to educate people on why there's trash and where does their trash go. And do you understand there's $1,000 fine or up to a year in jail for dumping in a dumpster that's not yours? And the city refuses to give us trash cans. I've called them, I've asked them, I've rented U-Hauls, I've paid money out of my pocket to get this trash picked up, So it's just like, just trying to get people to understand and, like, in a way that they might be able to have a little humanity and, I don't know, yeah, just be their friends and listen to them.
And what does the response from the city and law enforcement look like?
Aggressive as fuck. It's intimidation tactics and it's gross. They're taking away program after program after program here. They don't listen. They don't care. They'll arrest us and charge us. So.
Any moments that nearly broke you but didn't?
Lots.
Yeah. Feel like sharing one?
Yeah, so after Unicorn Camp was swept, people moved down the tracks and it became a camp called the Seneca Camp, the Seneca Strip. It became a camp of resistance and we were able to hold that sweep off for 7 months. And then as soon as they got those people off of the tracks in July 17th, 2024, I decided I was going to go stay with these people on the streets and try to help them find somewhere else to go. And we were swept aggressively swept 4 times within 5 days. And I was living out there with them and experiencing these sweeps and experiencing being woken up by the police and their sweeps got to the point where it was just a fuck with these guys, and that pissed me off. And that is when I went with a group of people to the city council meeting and disrupted it because I was so mad. I've never felt that mad before my entire life. Anyway, they ended up just arresting us, and so that was really hard. For a minute, I thought it broke me, but then I got arrested, and I was like, "All right, motherfuckers, we back." So
let's talk about what doesn't get talked about enough: the cost of showing up every day to fight for others. I know you and I both share something heavy. We've developed serious heart issues from the constant stress, the trauma, and the relentless grind of outreach work with little to no support. So when did you first start noticing this toll that this work was taking on your health?
July, after those sweeps, like I said, I'd never felt so pissed and so mad, and I feel like my blood pressure was obviously up, and it's never gone back down.
How do you balance the need to fight with the need to survive?
I don't know if I do.
Fair enough. I don't think I do either. Do you think people outside this work truly understand what it does to our bodies and minds?
No.
And what does healing look like for you? And how do you make space for it now?
I'm still trying to learn this. Recently, it's kind of been like, hey, I have other people. We have over 115 people in the Barefoot Defenders now. And I just have to be like, I have other people that these guys can rely on. And as much as I hate it, it's like when people reach out to me, I'm like, I'm really sorry. I'm on a medical leave. I need you to go reach out to the Barefoot Defenders actual group and somebody there will help you and take care of you. And I just have to have faith in, like, I guess maybe not faith is not the word, but I'm not a really great man with my words, but I just have to know, I have to trust my community that they're going to be there to take care of things and that I don't have to do it all. Like, there's a group of us for a reason.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it hits different when your body starts sounding the alarm.
Yeah.
And it's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign that we've carried too much for too long without being carried ourselves. And we have to start building movements that don't just rely on the strongest shoulders, but also protect them.
Yeah.
So let's talk the personal cost. How's this work changed you?
Whew. Well, for one, it's fucking traumatized the fuck out of me. I've always known, like, about police brutality. I've always known about the corruption. I've always known about this. I didn't expect to lose faith in humanity as much as I did. Once I started, like, really understanding how shitty people are, like the housed people, the NIMBYs. Wait, what was the question again?
How's this work changed you?
Oh, yeah. And so it's definitely made me more angry. Sometimes I wish I could go back to being naive and blind, because it's just really heavy. Everything, it consumes my everything. Homelessness consumes my entire existence. Like, I can't have fun anymore. I can't go somewhere and be like, let's have a nice dinner and chat about some dumbass movie you saw. Like, all I can think of is, like, you could have taken that fucking movie money, and instead of going and doing that, you could have gone and fed somebody. You could have gone and got somebody a pair of socks. You could have gone and done something else. Like, you could have done something for somebody else instead of having fun, like, you selfish pieces of shit. Sorry, friends, if you're listening, but, like, that's how it is. I can't do anything. Like, I can't enjoy shit. It's hard.
That. Have you ever felt alone in this work? And if so, what pulled you back? I'm sure I have, but I don't think it's significant enough for me to remember it. Fair enough. I guess it's like, there's a handful of people who go hard, and those people make it so I don't feel like totally alone. But I feel like as a group, we're really lonely. Like, there's not enough people getting loud, and we shouldn't be the only ones. Yeah. What's something people don't understand about being this deep in the fight?
Well, I don't think people understand the harassment that comes with that, whether it be from contractors or people who don't like homeless people or police officers. I don't think people understand. I don't think they understand that. Yeah. So before we move forward, I want to pause and bring in someone whose spirit is still very much marching with us. Candace King. Yeah. Candace wasn't just Jetty's ride or die. She was a firebrand, a force, and a fighter who turned her wrongful eviction into a rallying cry. A black woman who was systematically pushed out of her home, Candace didn't lay down. She stood up. And for 96 straight days,
She held that ground in a full resistance occupation.
Yeah.
They tried to erase her. Instead, she wrote her name in every act of defiance that followed. So can you share who Candace King was, not just in the fight, but to you personally?
Yeah, I mean, Candace was a force to be reckoned with, that's for sure. She was so smart. She did so many things in her life. I can't even begin to touch everything that she's done, but she was so smart. And even though she was as smart as she was, she never made you feel judged. Like, she was just like, her best friends were hobos. That's where she hung out most of the time. Like, she could hang out with anybody. Like, she could hang out with like council members and politicians and hobos and drug addicts and anybody between. She was my best friend, my favorite person probably in the world that I've ever met. I love and admire her. Yeah, I don't even know. There's just too much.
So tell us about that 96-day occupation. What was it like inside the belly of that beast?
It was fun and fucked up and scary and beautiful and brave and artistic and fierce and I learned what true community looked like there. It was fun. Towards the end, we fucking built the shit out of some barricades and I don't know. It was a wild time. I loved it. I would love to just occupy and do that full time somewhere.
And what did Candace teach you about resistance and love?
I think the biggest thing with Candace was like she taught me to be brave. Fuck, I want to cry. She taught me to be brave and she taught me to stand up for what's right, and she taught me just so much stuff. She's the bravest person I've ever met in my life.
What did her death mean for the movement? And how's everyone carrying her legacy forward?
Her death definitely is impacting the work that can get done around here. Like that fucking girl, she literally, like, I don't even know how to get into it, but she's a huge asset, and I definitely miss her. I don't know how to continue without her. But she's inspired a lot of things to happen. Documentaries are being made now to hopefully educate people on how to occupy correctly and how not to fail her. Her death was a direct result of a capitalist system that ate her up and spit her out, and so I think there's just more resistance in capitalism there for me personally, and I think that we'll start seeing more things come up, like as far as like trying to find like community and ways to like support people with shelter, and at least that's my hope. But we'll see. It's still pretty fresh.
If Candace were sitting here right now, what do you think she'd say to the people listening?
She'd say so much. She talked so much. And everything she said would be smart and beautifully said and encouraging and inspiring. And she would probably be like, dry up your tears and get the fuck out and fight, you know. And don't be scared, be brave.
They say revolutionaries die twice. Once in body, and again when we stop speaking their names. But Candace King's name isn't going quiet. She lives in every barefoot step that marches forward, in every eviction fought, in every tent defended, and every elder sheltered. Rest in power, Candace.
Yes.
So let's talk community power and radical compassion. What does real solidarity look like on the street?
Ooh. I suppose it depends on the situation, you know? It could look like helping somebody get a sandwich, you know? It could look like helping somebody move a wagon that's really heavy in the midst of the police trying to ticket you or arrest you. It could be as simple as stopping and recording the police if they're harassing unhoused folks. It could be stop, take a picture if you see a notice to vacate sign by somebody's tent, take a picture of it and check.
My phone went dark for just a second. So how do you keep people motivated when everything feels like it's burning?
I love stirring the shit pot. Like, I love to stir that pot. So I think it's just constantly like learning about the injustices that are happening, talking about them. You know, like that's my big thing is people will message me and be like, this is what's going on. And then I bring it to everybody and I try to like make, people be aware of it. I think, yeah.
What stories of hope have stuck with you through all this?
I think it's just like seeing other, groups and whatever down and not being intimidated to go away. We're seeing it all over the country. Berkeley's been doing this huge Where to Go campaign, and that's Eugene, Oregon has been being threatened with criminalization of the police, and we're having people show up in support of them and be a presence. We're seeing it with Neighbors Feeding Neighbors as well. They do a street feed 3 days a week. Yeah.
So what's the local government doing that should have people sounding the damn alarm?
So there's a group or a program here called Cahoots. It's like under this umbrella of Whitebird, which is this, it used to be a really, really cool, I don't even know, group of people who've been around for 30, 40 years. Cahoots is like mental health crisis. You can call 911 and they're like, do you want the police or do you want Cahoots? They'll go out, they will tend to people on the streets, they will tend to mental health crisis, all kinds of things. And because Whitebird has become like this corrupt group now, like their board members are, okay, we're not gonna get all the way in there. Anyway, shit's going on Whitebird. They're shutting a bunch of their programs down, and because they can't have people doing Cahoots 24/7, the city of Eugene has ended their funding with the Cahoots program and are starting to implement their own mobile crisis unit, which people do not trust. We're watching things like Looking Glass shut down, which is like a youth program for the unhoused kids. They're just cutting all of this funding to things like that are going to help unhoused folks. And spending lots of money on like, you know, stadiums and bullshit that we don't need.
And equipment for cops.
Yes. And cops.
Yeah.
Fuck those guys.
So what's your vision of a world where we actually care for one another?
It would be like Possum Kingdom. It would be like that 96-day occupation. Like, it would be understanding that people do struggle with addiction and people do struggle with mental health, and we need to be kind and compassionate and caring for those people. We need to help feed each other, and you know, if somebody doesn't have shoes, we need to put a call out and find that person some shoes. We need to have art that is created by the people and not corporations, and we need to be, you know, good to each other. And when we have our differences, we need to be able to sit down, maybe with a group, and work through it. It would just be like, stop feeding into the fucking bullshit that's coming out of DC, and start your own community and take it over and show them we don't need them, and encourage people to get on that train and fucking stand up and start a revolution. Like, we don't need the fucking government. We need to take care of each other. We must love and care for each other. We must love and support each other, and we have to fight so that we can win.
I have 100% fucking agree.
Those are all Candace quotes.
So what's next for the Barefoot Defenders, and how can people get involved or support the cause?
So I've actually been on a medical leave for 3 months now. I'm trying to get this damn heart of mine chill out. So I am out of the loop of what they're doing right now, for the most part. I know that they're working on some trainings for Know Your Rights stuff, for advocates and for the unhoused. They're getting ready to do a big free giveaway barbecue, which is a great way to unload our massive amount of donations.
It's the 26th, right?
The 26th. There's also a land trust, and I feel like a jerk because I cannot remember what they changed the name to, but there's a group of advocates and unhoused folks that have been working on getting their 501c3 and raising money. There's about $100,000 in a savings account right now towards a piece of land, and eventually that will become some sort of like small self-sustaining tenants union, so that people can build houses and get off the streets and, you know, get away from the cops. And so that's one of our big things we've been working on. How do you get involved? We are on Facebook and Instagram as the Barefoot Defenders. We're on Signal, so if you're on Signal and you want to be involved in that chat, you could hit up Facebook or Instagram page and get involved that way. If you're not in Eugene, and you live in a place where there are unhoused folks, it's just be aware of them and be their ally, be their friend, get out, say hey, you know, if you have some crackers, they love chocolate milk on the streets. All right, so if you can get some chocolate milk and go out there, you can make some friends. They love cigarettes. Film the police if you see them harassing unhoused folks. If you see them sweeping people and people are struggling, get out of your fucking car for 5 minutes and go help them pull some of their shit to the sidewalk. You know, like, just be aware. Educate yourself. Be a good human being.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important for people to remember, like, and to realize, like, we are watching inflation skyrocket. We are watching, rent rise. We are watching natural disasters take over entire towns and destroy them. And those people are now houseless. We're watching the Supreme Court criminalize people for surviving. And I think we're all so fucking close to having to survive that we need to fight against, like, the criminalization of that, because it's fucking ridiculous. Like, housing is a human right. We all deserve to be housed, if that's what you want. Some people don't want that, but
there's only two states or two countries that declared that food and housing was not a human right. It was the United States and Israel.
Yeah, that checks out. Fucking pieces of shit.
Well, thank you, Jetty, for giving me the chance to showcase you and your powerful work. Folks, this is Jetty Eddie, leader, protector, and troublemaker in all the best ways. If you felt moved, if your fist clenched or your heart cracked open, don't let it stop there. People are out there getting stomped on by the same boots that claim to protect us. Jetty's crew isn't asking for your pity. They're demanding your presence. Go barefoot if you have to. Get loud. Get uncomfortable. Get involved. Change doesn't come in a ballot box or a boardroom. It comes from people like Jetty, who said, I will not look away. Thanks, everybody, for joining me. As always, I'm Sludge Knuckle. This is Interviewing Humanity. And as you've heard, humanity is standing up and walking barefoot into battle. Until next time, everybody.
I'm coming back. I'm coming back. I ain't done. I just wanted to say this. My buddy Garrett we called him the mayor of the Seneca camp. He just passed away day before yesterday. There's a GoFundMe up on the Barefoot Defender pages, and we're just trying to get enough money to get his ashes, like his body, cremated. So if you have the means to donate, that would be amazing. If you could go, support, share, talk about it.
If you send me the link, I'll make a post and tag it out to everybody.
Hell yeah, that'd be really cool. Because I mean, it's $1,200. We can do that. We gotta get our buddy
absolutely
cremated. So that'd be cool. Anyway, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much, and keep an eye out for that post in regards to Garrett.
Thank you.
And I'll see y'all soon. Love and light, everybody.